That was the 7-6 match on Villa in the group stages of Paris.
So
FaZe went out in that, Market went out in that, so FaZe definitely beatable, as we've seen before. If this Market, maybe that video just caught them at a bad moment. Maybe what they were saying, or maybe that sort of shook them up and went, oh, hang on a minute. No, that's not how we want to represent ourselves, and maybe they'll turn up in a sort of fanatic frame of mind and nothing to lose. It's Oregon Clubhouse and Bank where we're going.
Well, maybe it's all theater.
Oh,
maybe they just want to. Maybe they want to look like that, right?
It's all mind games.
It's a ruse.
This is surprising to see what the picks are, because Oregon is the best map of Market that they really like to play all the time, and no team allows them to play it in Pro League. FaZe goes for that pick, lets them pick it, so they must have something prepared for that, because it's one of their most banned maps. They have banned Oregon 7 times before.
Yeah, 7 times, and they've lost it twice.
Yes.
And they played it 3 times, won once, lost twice. So
yeah, it's just not good for them.
It is not a map you'd assume they were going to have.
Yeah.
In that.
But it's the same on Clubhouse for FaZe, because Market doesn't really like to play Clubhouse. They want to go for the coastline, they want to go for the Oregon, and they let Clubhouse through, which is one of the maps that FaZe actually likes to play. They have played it 4 times, won twice, and lost twice.
And never banned it.
And never banned it, exactly.
So why on earth are we going to Oregon in Clubhouse? Both teams trying to outgame the other.
Well, there's always one argument that if you're really good at a map and you really like playing a map, it's very easy to get the info on it.
Oregon, Clubhouse, maybe a map 3. Well, we'll find out. It's quarterfinal number 1, and it's live to you from Rio. Market Esports with a lot to do against FaZe and all of their other players who are sat watching the game. It is Milos and Emzo who are also ready for you live here in Rio, and let's get our first quarterfinal underway.
Thank you very much, Matt, and boy, is it cooking here in Rio. And we're not just talking about the weather, ladies and gentlemen, because this very first match can decide many, many things. Now that we've said in the past, many games have been decided in the map ban, and this is a very interesting one for sure. Again, I'm Osama Somatic Finch. With me is the ever so gracious and wonderful Devin Emzo Becker, Your Highness, and we are ready to go through with our first game. Now, Devin, in that video, Market seemed a bit perplexed.
Yeah. They definitely, I mean, I don't think they expected to be here. I don't think most people expected them to be here. I think most people expected to see Secret in their place. But the fact that they've gone through, not just managed to make it when they hadn't made it in the past, but managed to make it after losing 3 players, pulling back a benched player, having to just pull in people at the last minute. If anyone can pull a rabbit out of their hat, I think it's Market. But they're going up against Latin America's best hope for this tournament, FaZe, right at the beginning. So I don't think we can get people into the stadium fast enough for the excitement that we have in this match.
And unfortunately, it is very difficult. There are thousands of people still waiting outside and coming in as they trickle in throughout the day. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll kick it off. Map number 1 in this first best-of-3 series. Market versus FaZe Clan, the EU 2nd seed versus the favorite team of Latin America. And it's all happening on map 1. Oregon, remind you, Clubhouse and potentially Bank are what await us. And honestly, for a lot of players, for a lot of people, you look at this, we're like, you know what, FaZe have the big advantage. That's a bit of a no-brainer here. But the fact that Market get that Oregon map as map 1, it can really throw things off for FaZe. They're not an easy team to deal with. And there you go, Lion and Glass.
I'm kind of hoping to see a smoke ban. There it is. Just
there you go.
Both teams have banned smoke during the season.
Man.
So I was really excited to see that happen again here. So it's good to see them coming to agreement on that. But it's interesting to see the Market the one to ban Glass, where FaZe is often the one to do that.
Yeah, and usually it facilitates you to run Finka Blitz, which is a combo that works extremely well on Oregon. But because Market are starting on the attack, what they can do is just immediately neuter the defense so they can get as much as possible done on the attack, then prepare for their second part.
I gotta imagine there's a good chance we'll see Mira or Echo in this last one, but you never know with these teams. They could really try and surprise.
Yeah, there you go. Mira will go through. So first game, and we still get a Mira, which actually makes a lot of sense. Both teams are well known for not immediately going for the Mira ban, because both teams have excellent Mira players on them, but also smoke players. But the smoke being eliminated allows you to play so many different strategies. And the thing is, Mira isn't as like amazing of an operator that I myself am guilty of kind of showing off. However, bulletproof cameras are even more important, and Maestro is even more important of an operator compared to Mira, just because of the fact that you can see through smoke either with bulletproof cameras or with Maestro cameras, and both of them are excellent for that.
Yuna's placement of those cameras is definitely going to be critical in this laundry basement because it is the most smoked bomb site probably almost across the entire map pool because you pretty much have to smoke to plant down here.
Yeah, and what makes a lot of sense is that echo band, in my opinion, because this allows FaZe Clan to maneuver quite a bit around the map and then go for late plants without having to worry about the usual Baka Brian who's playing the operator, and he's got a few pretty interesting spots. You know, when we get to Clubhouse, we might see one or two of those. But there you go. We start off on the basement laundry, nothing out of the ordinary. Of course, the Mira being available to play. We'll have the Maestro, the Legion, the Valkyrie, and the Jaeger for FaZe Clan.
It looks like we're seeing a little bit of setup that might lead to some meeting hall play as well. Some reinforcements going down both on the top and on the meeting hall side. They're opening up the hatches as well. So it's going to be on Mach to try and clear that out. And we do see teams often at this point, if they feel too much pressure, just leaving meeting hall alone and trying to push from there. But that's pretty risky when you have to deal with the Mira as well as the Maestro Evil Eyes. You kind of can't dilly-dally around to fight those. So they could even just go for a construction push. Corey, as they were talking about, the one entry fragger they really depend on those early kills from is going to be going into tower first. If he can get around behind meeting hall, do some serious damage in there, that could really open things up for Mocket.
Yeah, time and time again, we've seen Corey able to sneak up on his opponents, even in the back. We've seen it even when Mocket had to play against G2 in the online phase of Season 8, and they're able to just run Corey in spots where even G2 were not expecting. But they'll start off here by taking the garage as well, so garage tower control, but Rips realizes, okay, they have a lot of holes that are pre-open. They are defending on the top floor. It makes a lot of sense. Latin America and FaZe Clan in particular love to play the staggered defense on multiple floors, not only having the meeting hall in the lobby to play with, but also kids' dorms before falling back on laundry. And why? You waste a ton of time on the attack and you put Mocket on the backhand, which is exactly what Mocket do not want. Their executions are always perfect, basically, but you don't have that luxury when FaZe Clan is just trying to get picks on you here and there, constantly giving you pressure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they're able to get actually any early kills because it's already just pressured them down to site itself. They're not actually playing the meeting hall. It looks like they're managing to get control of that from the tower side as well. And it looks like that tower push is going to happen. You have the diffuser down there with KS trying to push that. They also have both hard breachers, ability to open up hatch as well as the walls. And there's not going to be anything to stop them. There's no mutes, there's no bandits. So they could just start to open things up. And then it's going to come down to frags, whether or not FaZe can go for a good flank.
This is excellent. FaZe have to fall back from the bottom floor. But in the meantime, Mocket are trying to shut down any rotations that happen through them. So they're going to try to execute on the site ASAP. It is up to the Mira here to try and delay things for as long as possible. See cameraman holding up in the supply room. He's got a C4 in hand, but Baka Brian has a beat on him. Flashbang missed out by KS, who will flash his teammates. Pressure starting to mount as Corey will move into the hallway. He gets fired down from the Mira, but will take it out. First kill of the tournament goes to Corey. Though Yuna and Moringa will get one each. Corey with another one. That makes it 3. The advantage of Mocket against the 2 remaining from FaZe Clan. They have control of the site, but Moringa from behind. He'll get 1, he'll get 2. And Reps will turn it to 1v1. No, now Corey versus Moringa. The 2 big fraggers on the squad. Moringa will get the spot. He fires it to Corey, but Corey takes it the first round. And Corey will nab an excellent chunk of kills.
There's a good reason they put a lot of hopes in that man. He was one of the ones that was picked up to replace some lost players early on, but he has definitely proven his worth. And I'm not sure they're missing aces as much as they used to be.
And that's how you do it. They mentioned it on our analysis desk before we got in here. It's just, if you don't allow FaZe Clan to build up that emotional strength and having the crowd behind them, that's when you really start to win. And you see Moringa here with the drop perfectly coming in from behind his opponents. He naps too, but Corey was ready for him and treated everything by going through the Mira early on. And at least, a nice 3 or 4K in the very first.
The only problem I have with the way Mocket played that, though, is they did a great job getting control of their side of the map early on, setting up, but then they started to stall out a little bit. They did a good job in taking the site, but in doing so, they were so overly focused on their execute at that point, they were not able to very properly defend themselves and guard against the meeting hall push that was almost inevitable at that point, because when you push everyone through one side and no one pushing from the stairs side in Laundry, it's pretty easy for them to rotate up and around, especially when you have a 3-speed like Jaeger able to just make that rotate. Moringa, though, was not able to find enough kills to make it work, but just lack of good flank watch on that meeting hall almost cost them the round. So if they go for a similar attack, which I doubt they will this time, they're just going to have to worry about whether or not they can hold those same angles the same, and of course not flash their teammates just before they execute.
Yeah, it definitely was something that the crowd cheered for. Makes a lot of sense, right? But it's not like we're going to have a big change in the strategy. You know, we're going to go down to the same exact sites. There's nothing different out of the ordinary in what we're doing. It's just, you see that FaZe are playing very much off the site and then having to rotate very quickly down to it. Now, one thing I have to commend them is that FaZe are excellent knowing exactly when they should rotate back on the site whenever the pressure starts to mount from Market or really any team. And this is really the experience of playing the past couple of years. Remember, this is pretty much a close enough shave to the team that played in Sao Paulo under Font last year. They got to the semis and they played pretty darn well, so it's quite a bit of work for FaZe Clan. They have all that it takes to go through Market here, but Market are still in the attack, and honestly, the ability to chuck out gas canisters not being present, because smoke is banned obviously, is starting to weigh heavily on FaZe Clan. Even from the very first round, it's all very well planned from Market, at least so far. Well,
the interesting thing about FaZe's adaptation this time, they set up things mostly the same at the beginning, but they're putting a lot more people upstairs now. Now, they may not actually have to fight if it goes for another construction push, but the upside is that if tower control is not completely established, they're able to rotate around pretty easily above them this time, rather than having to do it a little bit later. So it looks like FaZe are mostly kind of either waiting in position on the site, just seeing if they can figure out where the attack's coming from, or upstairs, waiting to see if they need to engage in a fight or just make that sprint down. And there's a lot of utility left to do this because Market aren't really spending a lot of time clearing the rest of the map other than taking a little bit of meeting hall control. So both teams, a lot of utility left.
I love this from Vale. The fact that he used the Habana to just open up the hole here from the back, so we can have a full line of sight from the back stairs all the way down into the meeting hall. And this allows them to cut off rotations, or at least force FaZe Clan to come in from the lobby. And so far, it's very calm. But look at Baka Brian and, of course, the Habana at Vale. And they're just sitting back and waiting for rotations. And so far, it just rips on the Zofia, destroying utility. It's Corey as well, that's destroying as much barbed wire as possible. And KS trying to bait out any utility in the back. Now, the Maestro is the one that's close up. And you hear the C4 had already been ripped in the back. So they're ready to check it out ASAP. I believe that's Mav as well as playing the Valk in the back. There you go. He's on the floor and he's ready to go. But so far, Market are kind of taking their time.
Yeah, they've definitely made a good... Wow, that was a quick trade.
That's Moringa, though. He'll get two on the Jaegers. Corey will walk right into the smoke. Perfect position right next to the mirror. Cameraman is down on the floor. And now it's advantage again for Market. 3v2. Moringa low on health, and Baka Brian holding the long angle. The Ash of Corey jumping right in again as he spots one in the back. The Valkyrie taken out. 2v1 as Moringa taken out in the back. Nobody on the drone, but they know that there's the drop hatch and the main lobby, the two positions that he can play. But Moringa have to fall in. Oh no, this can be death here if they don't spot Moringa. They'll try to come in from the side, pre-fire into A, but they have a spot on him. The drones are everywhere, and they know exactly where he's at. The fuser should get set, and there you go. 1 second left on the clock, and it's already been done. He'll find one, and Baka Brian will go down. Corey, though, coming in from the side. He has all info on him, and here's him, but the Maestros are in, and Corey again against Moringa. Second round, second clutch, and the two ace players, basically, on the squads go again, head-to-head. The Ash v. Jaeger. The thing we've been talking about for the past 3 years, basically, in Rainbow 6, and there you go. Yet again, the Ash will take it.
Definitely a bit of deja vu in that round. Mostly the same setup, mostly the same attack. Coming down again to Corey against Moringa at the very end. Moringa playing a little bit smarter this time. He did get spotted by a drone, though, and that is part of why we're seeing Market doing a pretty good job on these attacks, because they're setting up at least enough drones on flank watch. Maybe they're not winning their fights. Maybe they're not able to do a whole lot about the speed of those flanks, but the fact that they're able to anticipate them is definitely working out, because you have people like Corey able to adapt. In the end, it struggled a little bit to get that plant down, because first off, the diffuser was left a little far behind. That almost gave Moringa an opportunity to get a pick from that hatch from above, but unfortunately, it just did not work out. Speaking of which, looks like we might have a slight technical problem here, potentially.
Yeah, hopefully we are all good to go. Again, the players are still in game, as we appear to have lost our in-game feed. But of course, admins and the crew are on this. Mocket, of course, up 2-0. And I have to say, the big difference between these two attacks is the fact that the first time, it was just so much slow. Well, the second time was so much slower from Mocket compared to the very first time, but it was so much more aggressive from the squad. But there you go, we are actually back in the game. So, all right, there you go, Mocket v FaZe Clan round number 3. And Corey is moving in yet again on the Ash. And yet again, Mocket do not have to worry about a smoke.
Well, I like that Mocket have been able to do fairly well with the double heart breacher style, because someone like KS can frag decently well on Thermite, as well as of course, you're going to get some decent frags from Habana from Vale. So between the two, they're not really playing, I would say, 100% dedicated support, as more they're playing a support kind of flex role, and because of that, they have the extra redundancy to help make sure they can get whatever they need open. Of course, Bombside is going to switch upstairs as they've realized Laundry not quite working out for them, and of course, this is Mocket's map, and definitely one that they're a bit better on. Alibi being played here should change things up a little bit, but Vale, nice early pick.
Yeah, a lot of damage done to Cameraman as they'll have to fall back. And oh no, they crossed right in front of Brian. We'll find Cameraman was so low on health. This is huge advantage here for Mocket. They're absolutely dismantling FaZe Clan, and this is why you don't take Mocket to Oregon, because they're pretty darn good in this map. Even for a team like FaZe, where Latin American teams in general will have a decent chunk of experience on Oregon. However, again, not in this case. FaZe have not played this map often at all during this entire season. It really does not help when you give Mocket something they're very comfy on. Already the Thermite opening up the main closet will be able to go and plant, but there is the mirror window for them to worry about, and already drones being set up by Mocket.
No smoke though, so that means they really have to depend on C4 to make things work here, and of course there's only going to have one. So Yuna needs to land a solid C4 if he wants to deny a plant in that room. Of course, the ban advantage here is also going to be a big factor into this, because, for example, you don't have the Jaeger to be kind of quick peeking and playing that same with Cameraman. It's going to be down to more utility, but Yuna does land his C4.
Oh, rips! He finds him through the bed, and unfortunately, the Maestro just tagged himself. I think it was the Alda that peeked into the Alibi Prisma. But here, Yuna on the roaming Mira. Yes, it does exist. He'll find Corey and take out one in the armory before falling back. Rips, though, holding off the rotation. The Mira still, and it rips again. He'll find it. Turning around the 180. Yuna will go down, and Mocket absolutely dominant so far in the game.
When I talked to Mocket earlier, they said their plan was pretty much to try and take the first 2 rounds if they could and possible, and just put FaZe in a bad emotional spot. And so far, they're succeeding. Just beyond expectations for them as well as us.
Yeah, we haven't seen any tears so far, but my God, if these rounds keep going and going, then there you go. You saw the run out from Astro to try and get a kill, but instantly spotted every single position played by Mocket, all anticipating the aggression from FaZe Clan. Again, FaZe are an excellent team. However, you can't neglect, this is something very difficult to explain it to someone that has not been in that situation, where there was so much pressure. There were thousands of people sitting right now in the stadium, an Olympic stadium, mind you.
And the flip side of that, of course, is Mocket don't really have much to lose because they didn't expect to be here.
They're like, yeah, we qualified. I mean, we did the work. We did very, very well to get here. You know, we beat out Secret, we beat out Millennium, but here, no pressure at all.
Yeah, well, we talked about that with Liquid in the past. When they won Atlantic City, was a big part of that was just not feeling the pressure on themselves. They were really just looking to have a good time. When I talked to Mocket earlier, they said the same thing. They're just looking to have fun here. I mean, maybe they won't make it any further than this. Maybe Oregon will be the one thing that they win, but it's, I mean, obviously not over yet. But still, it is looking good for them going forward so far.
It is dominant. I mean, the first 2 rounds were basically the 1v1s, but that 3rd round outside the defense downstairs, FaZe has not had really good luck. And you see it here again. They're going to go back down to the basement because they realize that, you know what, maybe we're just much more comfortable playing on the basement because we can play some sort of time advantage. Rotating and playing those sort of roam games on the top floor is much more complicated when the top is your defensive position, because you have Baka that's just watching the windows. You have the Bana as well. A Vale that's always watching rotations through the windows. And then you get shot off, and suddenly oh, we're only 2 players left against 4 or 5. And
well, the reason you're seeing that, and the reason you're seeing so many 1v1s at the end is because Mach1 are trading very well in these attacks. Every time they lose someone, they manage to trade it either to someone immediately right there or to someone across the map. And I think that is a big reason why Mach1's winning these, because guess who's left at the end of a lot of these in those 1v1s? Corey.
The fragger, the one that you want to be alive.
Absolutely, and I think it's absolutely paying off, and it just shows good teamwork. Now, unfortunately, because Mira's in play, and they're just going to keep going for the same attack over and over because the other side is so much harder to push with that window.
And the thing is, why is there no tower position Mira that's being used?
They absolutely could take advantage of even just hanging out in T3 just to really slow this down.
100%. You can put the Jaeger in there. It can do a lot of work, that's for sure. At least delaying things. Now, usually the Habana is on the other side by the tower. Not the case in here. So Corey, though, will find the first kill on a cameraman, and he just peeks in. Again, Mira window is set on top. That's the second one. Because FaZe Clan are so adamant that they want to set players on the top floor and try to delay things, and the Mira herself was played upstairs. So you end up losing not only the Mira and all the utility that was placed, but also the C4 out of her, which arguably is even more important when you're playing downstairs. The peak, though, from Astro. He'll find Baka and take him out. Finally, something going the way of FaZe as they tie things out. And honestly, Capitao pick, pretty darn big.
Yeah, definitely the fact that they're playing that tower is working out, but Vale at least trading one back on Moringa means he's not going to be going for those late clutches here. They are getting a lot opened up here, and they just completely rotated to go for a laundry push instead, realizing we're not going to be able to take tower the way that they're defending it, especially after losing it. But losing Baka Brian, as you said, on that Capitao is very important for this particular push. So now this is a much, much better position for FaZe.
Yeah, and this is the big change for Mach1. Instead of, as usual, coming in from the backside of the tower, they're just going to come in from the front. Your default position to attack. The problem is you lost the Capitao, which is arguably the most important operator to have, especially in the post-plant situation here. You're not really bringing much smoke, or really any smokes outside of the Capitao. So without the ability to basically push anybody away from the closet or use your crossbow bolts to render lines of sight useless, then this can get way too complex for you. KS running the Vitality Charm. Of course, Vitality dropped down the Challenger League. We'll see the Thermite just ready to go in and plant. He's got the diffuser in hand. 20 seconds in, but he'll get taken down. Mav will find it. Perfect into a 3v3, and headshot. Rips will go down. Another one for Mav, the 3K. And there you go, triple kill. Round 4 will go the way of FaZe Clan, and not a moment too soon.
Well, it was unfortunate. Mach1 falling victim to their own predictability.
Look at the crowd, Devin. They're in. We got them in.
One out of 4. Not exactly what you'd want to be doing as FaZe here, but the fact that they're able to anticipate, play a lot better counter strategy to Mach1, and the fact that Mach1 just didn't have a lot they could do about it, especially being down the most important players, we said, in terms of utility. That was, I mean, from that first kill, it was pretty much a FaZe round. And thanks to Mav's excellent shots as well, pretty much sealed that deal. They are going to go back up to dorms, though, and this is where things could get interesting because they can play it different ways. They don't necessarily have to play it the exact same way they did last time, unlike Laundry.
Yeah, the problem here is that even if FaZe Clan get one round, that's not a negligible thing at all, because the crowd being behind them, you hear that. We can actually feel it.
Oh, they feel it on the stage, too.
Yeah, if you're on stage, my God, can you feel that? And adrenaline is not something to be trifled with, and it can really, literally rocket you forward into a game. So the problem being is that FaZe are playing off the site a bit too much. Mach1 are able to clean them up, and no smoke available. So you can't really delay Mach1, who pretty much have complete reign, which means that Mach1 did their research when it comes to the bans, and really both teams are well known for going away with the smoke if required. So it really does show a lot of preparation from both teams, especially for a stage this large and this big. You see pre-open holes being set up by Mav. Another one of the bonuses that Maestro adds, especially in professional play, is that you can do so much in setup. Even if you don't have a smoke or a Mira, you still get that pocket shotgun available.
Yeah, and the important thing is they still, of course, have the C4s, and that is pretty much what they're having to play in place of smoke here, because they're going to have to defend against any kind of pushes in from the bedroom window, from the master bedroom, where we saw them go for the play last time, to the closet, or even from the big window itself, which they could go for, but that mirror window probably going to make that too difficult to consider. However, with a lot of possibilities here, they just have to be in the right position to get those C4s out. And the fact that they have Maestro makes Capitao in a little bit of a worse position to try and cover for a plant, of course, because not only can they see him, then they've got the ability to C4 pretty much that entire smoke range that he goes into. I think at this point it comes down to, can he land the firebolts and cut off rotations so those C4s can't come out?
Yeah, and the other question is, will Market gain control of the white stairs? We see it time and time again. Once those are in control of the attackers, there we go. Thank you very much, Marcio. This is why we have the best observer, not just in doing the backflips. It also, this position is so important because it allows you to cut off rotations directly, not just by using crossbow bolts or relying too much on your Capitao. But here, Kes will come in and he'll realize, you know what, there's Bandit already pre-placed everything, but not on the second wall. So the left-hand side, easy to open up, and Corey is already on the hunt. He knows that there's someone down here, and it is indeed Astro. And oh no, Corey will fire one round. This position will be known, but Moringa will fall back for just a bit. He can get support from his teammates from upstairs, though.
Yeah, definitely a game of cat and mouse going on downstairs, and I think whoever wins that is going to be in a big flank position that could change how this round goes down. So Corey needs to win that fight.
Look at the holes that are pre-open. Everything is set, so if Corey would like to challenge, Yuna is waiting for him from above.
Oh, he's got backup now.
Everything is just planned, and cameraman is in, as of course you can drop very easily, and having control of the back stairs allows you, in the white stairs, it allows you to rotate back onto the site. Now Corey will try to make that as difficult as possible, but right now he's just holding angles. And instead of holding the stairs themselves, he'll be holding on to the hallway via the bathroom, but Moringa will find him. Rips will be the first one to go down here. The Mocket losing him. Corey will get another one, though, on Moringa. Quick refrag. This unit will connect. Bill will go down, but Corey yet again. Does he know there's one behind him? No! Cameraman will win this duel. KS will go for the plant. There you go. The Mira window has already been opened up, but the defense has fallen back. Mav has gotten one on a KS, but Baka Brian, the last man alive. They can dive right on top of him, but they don't know where he's at. He's got a Claymore preset on the window as well. They'll have to dual peek him here in this one, but the Maestro, oh, he takes so much damage, and Baka will find him. But this is the problem, the Claymore is set, and Baka will land at the 3K with the Claymore. Disheartening here for FaZe Clan as Mocket will grab the 4th round on the board, and that's why you play the roof at the last seconds.
I love it. You have the last round before that, Baka Brian going down as Capitao being the thing that helps lose the round. Then you've got him coming back as a one-man army at the very end of the next round. So definitely shows sometimes the way those picks fall definitely makes a big difference in how the round flushes out. But I gotta appreciate what FaZe were trying to do downstairs. Once they realized Corey was there because of the shots he took, they brought cameraman in and kind of set up a sort of a flank position where they had cameraman rotate over, because even when the drone got shot, I don't think they saw cameraman. They just saw the bandit player, who actually rotated up into junk tower instead.
And that's the thing, they did not expect 2 players to be in that position, and that's what caught him off guard. That's how Corey was lost in that position.
Yeah, because he went up the white stairs not watching his own back. He did get a kill on the way up though, so between that and the other kill, it was absolutely still a positive KD for him, and of course that's why his team was able to clutch it out.
And the problem is, Baka had no utility at the end of the round. Yeah, he was the one that's supposed to peek. So I'm surprised that they got so close to the window, because he wouldn't have dove out. It's just, you know that there's the Capitao, you know you have the information on that previously from the round, but it's a bit of a mistake here from FaZe Clan to just try and contest in a 1v3 a player that is in a situation where he has to stay away for as long as possible and time it correctly. If you position yourself correctly, either on the defuse or to get the kill, it would have been much easier and possibly a FaZe win. But now we switch around. To round 6, and Mocket will have to play on the defense with no spec.
And the attacks is going to be a bit differently now. We saw Mocket play the same attack lineup time and time again. Don't think we'll see that from FaZe, as looking like they're starting with a Monty and a Thatcher. Very different here. They're not going with double hard breachers. They're going to go with a big old shield to walk in here.
Okay, it's not really surprising seeing Yuno shields, right? But specifically the Monty is pretty darn interesting. I really want to see how they try to push this, and maybe they'll even go for a split push via the construction and maybe from the main lobby, or just push in from the tower. But no, the initial placement here from FaZe is just going through the motions of, all right, we're going to go through a small tower. Astra's going to hold in and make sure there's nobody up in the attic. Cameraman is just moving in. Now, they're supposed to have as many drones as possible in front of cameraman, and this punch hole is fairly predictable, but it's a very strong position because you're not expecting anyone in it. If you go for multiple punch holes, even of the defense, it's much more difficult to deal with it, but so far, it's just very slow. Now, what you usually have is you bring the Buck, and the Buck does most of the work here of just entering into the kitchen and taking control of the top floor, but there you go. Vale will light him up, and Astra will be the first one to fall. Huge loss on the Zofia, and Corey again! My God, how does he do this? 60% HP, and he's still well and truly alive. FaZe to lose 2 important operators early on.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to get any EMPs down now, and that could be a big part of this because now they can't clear out any of the Legion mines or potentially even some of the black eyes that might be around for Yuna to be able to walk through.
Oh no, KS is ready. He's right behind the Monty. He'll fight it. Moringa will go down. And that's the diffuser on the floor. Yuna, he's blindsided. What angle does he hold at this point? Don't charge him. And the Monty will go down. Mocket absolutely manhandling FaZe Clan as Mav's the last man alive here. Most experienced member basically on the squad. There you go. Going down, Rips will rip into him. And my God, it's already there. Mocket on map point. And you see Corey's happy. KS is happy. And Baka Brian is making sure everybody is content. This is a Mocket that nobody expected. Yeah. But again, on the analysis desk, you heard our wonderful analysts, Zoronic, Wilkie, they went through the details and they said, why Oregon? That's the big question. Yeah. Crowd is fired up, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Well, I mean, what I worry about here, of course, is whether or not they'll be able to reset themselves mentally if they lose this map and FaZe going into their own. Will they be able to kind of reset themselves and get back into the position where they go, this is our map, and Bank is probably our map as well. So all they've got to do is take it from here. They can just say, forget Oregon, that was a mistake to let it through, no big deal, we can move forward from that. But that's still a big deal to deal with, losing your first map early on. And this is a team that has struggled at a lot of LAN events. FaZe just never seeming to make it as far as you would expect them to. But they are going to go instead with the Monty teasing that out. They're going to bring out Finka to try and push a little more aggressively along with the phone calls coming up from Astro, which actually will contribute into that because you can, of course, push in a little more aggressively. You're going to have the ability to boost. Now, a lot of times those get used up a bit earlier, but you bring out the phone calls as well. Then Mav, of course, can catch any footprints to try and track down any roamers. So they've got a fairly good aggressive lineup to push in and take a lot of map control fast. Because as you saw from last round, it was very, very slow and spread out from them. We'll see if the strategy works a little bit better, of course, as it's a different bomb site.
I mean, the fact that the Monty just walked up the stairs and then KS is like, all right, so I guess I'll go because I just, heard the Monty just clinking in.
Yeah.
Got a 1 kill and finish off the Monty. Easy double there. It's just, now FaZe Clan are up against the wall. And what do they bring? They bring the Jackal so they can scan the feet and obviously use the Inox to make sure they have a beat on their opponents, and also bringing Yuna with that Finka. Now, Finka, of course, now has grenades, so that's something to keep in mind.
And FaZe is probably the team I've seen play the most Finka all around. It just seems to be something that they wanted to experiment with from the get-go, even before there was grenades.
And of course, thanks to CGG for providing us with a lot of these tidbits in the stream. And as you saw, FaZe undefeated in the online part after the major fail with the dive. Astro goes down. He finds another one to turn around, but no! Cameraman with the kill. Vale will go down, unfortunately. Cameraman was on the camera. He was checking the drone, but losing the Dokkaebi in this push when you need the Dokkaebi plus the Jackal to clear out anybody roaming, that's a bit too much of a loss, even if you lose a Valkyrie and a C4.
Yeah, and it was worth it too because, of course, those black guys probably all already set up, so that utility is done for, whereas you said the phone calls not coming out is going to be a big problem here, but at least Cameraman lived through it, and that's the important thing. Had they lost 2 on that, that would have been way more drastic, but KS has been playing a lot of good Alibi, and I think that's going to be a problem for them as well here.
Yeah, and this is what I like from Yuna, though. He's bringing the LMG. In my opinion, if you're playing Finka, bring the LMG, don't use the Spear. It's a great gun still, but because you have 0 recoil, in the 30 seconds, if you chain all of your utility together, your nanobots basically, then you don't really have to think about anything except for the tons of damage you'll be dishing out on the opposite end. So here, even FaZe, they're chucking EMPs late just in case there's any utility that is set. Now, New Jammer was destroyed there at the end of the attic. So right now, it's just slow play from FaZe Clan as they try to clear things in. Yuna will start to open up the door, but opponents are ready for him. Minute 10 on the clock, and the attack has to go up to the top floor, but there's no info. They don't know if there's still anybody roaming around.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big problem for them because it's the man advantage. They've got some mute jammers left. They have some black eyes around. They also have the alibi hollows to be able to kind of trick them with those prisms. But I mean, most of the time, the way that KS uses it as well is you put them in positions where you're going to have to walk through it or shoot through it or jump a drone through it, and that's going to start to ping them, kind of acting as a reverse jackal. So Defender's huge advantage here.
Well, cameraman will stand right behind Yuna. There you go. They'll walk into the site. Now, they have not opened up the sidewall from the closet just yet, but it'll be set. Moringa will destroy it as there was a mute jammer that was put in on the floor by Map1. Baka, of course, sitting behind his window, and I'm not sure if that's a reinforced one. There you go. They'll find Corey, and KS is down. Huge plays here from attacking side of FaZe Clan. Is that a Mira with no sight? What is happening here? And FaZe will land 2 more, all up to Baka Brian as he'll go down. The AR-33 finishing things off, and FaZe Clan will take round number 6. But remember, they are still on map point.
It just seemed like they started to lose a little bit of their advantage there on the defense. For the end, they absolutely had all the advantage they needed, but it just seemed like they set themselves in positions where they weren't properly watching all of their flanks. They weren't in the right positions to land those shots, and just honestly, they got punished in 1v1.
How do you not get that?
Yeah. Still, though, a great initial attempt by Vale. That first kill there definitely set them back a lot. The second kill as well. It just put them in a good position they just didn't capitalize on. And I hope Map1, of course, aren't going to fall into some kind of tilt situation. But that's definitely going to make FaZe feel a little bit better here, as they did manage to at least take one more round, but they're obviously not out of the woods as it's, of course, match point. Baka going to switch off of that mirror and going to go for the castle. Interesting choice here because, of course, they are going to tower, which should make things interesting because, of course, they don't have to go to tower. They could play dorms. They could even play kitchen if they wanted to, but they're going to bring out the tower, and that's why they're going to hide that castle pick. But this still should be interesting, as this is one that doesn't often go in the way of defense, but has sometimes this season.
It has worked out for Map1, actually. It's worked out for Secret. It has worked out for Penta, well, back when they were Map1 as well. Even Vitality have got it done, Team Liquid. There's quite a few teams that have gotten some wins on it, but it's not a consistent thing, as you said. It's just sometimes it'll be there, and sometimes it'll be the thing that wins it out for you. Now, on this site, 100%, Mira is not really your most important operator, so it makes a lot of sense to go over the switcheroo, as you know, you might have used the alibi or the bandit to really trick your opponents. So yeah, now that you spot that it's tower, we'll tell you straight up. Important thing, take T3. And what is KS doing?
That's a genius setup.
2 Prismas upstairs in T3. Make sure that you get info on your opponents the instant they pop it. And they should have, there you go, Corey is going to play on the top floor. He'll have ADSs set around him. I'm not sure if there's a shield being brought as well to help him in this position because, you know, obviously it doesn't make a lot of sense. But no, he's bringing barbed wire, and nobody will be setting extra utility for him in this spot. And they're trying to fake out spawn peaks. This is ingenious.
And it's great use of it because even if it doesn't fake anyone out, it still leaves you in a position where you can't rappel in without getting marked.
Yes.
Through either of the 3 windows. And
100%.
That's great. Or you go throw in a utility, you go to throw in a drone, you're still going to get marked.
But look at what FaZe are bringing. They have the EMPs for cameraman to play. So if they can find out what's going on, what the trickery is, what the bamboozling is being set up for Map1.
Well, you can't jump a drone up there, though, for the most part. So there's a good chance they might not be able to see it.
Even if you jump a drone, like through the window, and it goes through the Prisma,
you're gonna get marked.
You're marked, and you know you can get pounced on, and it has happened in the previous round. And Map1 having such a big lead will not shy away from ballsy plays.
Well, of course, Map1 don't have as much to lose here because they're still sitting on match point as well. So this is a round where they're just trying to play to some strengths that FaZe might not be able to adapt to.
Sees that 75 with a Finka boost, aka no recoil whatsoever, and there you go. Control, but Vale does a lot of damage, not enough to finish off Astro. Well timed here.
Oh,
He'll be able to hack the cameras. They'll have information. There's no Maestro in play, so that's not something you have to worry about. But look at that double peek. Corey even stepping into the alibi. Unfortunately here, kind of reveals himself for a second. Not sure if FaZe spotted him, but still, FaZe are not even going to try and go up to the T3. They're just going to go through the meeting hall, and maybe early on it's met with success and later will change. It all depends on how Map1 react to it. As you see, all 3 rifles and SMGs are trailed on their opponents, as Map1 know where their opponents will come from. They just don't know when. That's the problem.
Well, the thing is, though, they got 2 kills and only lost a little bit of HP in the process. That's a big thing here. Now, they, of course, potentially have at least 1 phone call left as well. Probably maybe an adrenaline burst or 2 from Yuna.
No phone calls.
No, wow, he used those pretty early, especially with a good 38 seconds left. This would be a good time to have one of those. So many people left, but Yuna taking down Baka means it's just 2 left on Mocket against all 5. Looking like a pretty good phase round.
Well, look at the time, 27 seconds on the clock. They still have to go and plant. Rips will find one. Cameraman will go down, but Yuna with the refrag. He'll find the headshot, but Corey's still on site. You don't take him out. We've seen the amount of work that he can do for Mocket. 15 on the clock. They should know where he's at right now. The alibi should be able to help him upstairs to get some info. No, the smoke misspotted, but Moringa will be able to plant right on the edge. Moving in, Aster is ready from below though as he's taking control of the basement. And Dokkaebi will finish him off. FaZe now closer and closer to tie. Remember, the only way FaZe can take Oregon is if they head to overtime.
It's definitely looking possible here. This is seeming like a very attacker-sided map. From what we've seen so far, we've only seen 2 defensive wins out of all of these rounds. It's definitely been the case where sometimes it's been close, sometimes it's not, but attackers seeming to come out ahead almost every time. And what we're seeing from Mocket is even when they have a good chance of winning these, a lot of times they're just not pulling it back. Seeming like the coordination just not working as well for Mocket in terms of defense. They were so coordinated on attack. They seem to have the strats down very well, and it's kind of almost the opposite sometimes of what you see in terms of that coordination, because attackers tend to be spread out a bit more, but it seemed to work out in their favor. It's also working out in FaZe's favor because they're catching a lot of Mocket players off by themselves, and that's absolutely why it's not working for Mocket. They're not set up for all those trades we saw them get on attack. They're just not grouping up, and I think if Mocket could just play a little tighter together, they might be able to do a lot more against FaZe.
And what's the site where it's easiest to play tighter together? Down in Laundry in the basement.
And that's the one that they've won so far. Of course, they couldn't go back to it till now. So
yeah, of course, you play the site, and then you have to play 2 different ones. Lose or win, no matter what. You can't play the same one as before, and so this is why you have to have 3 bomb sites minimum in your quote-unquote inventory, in your back pocket.
Of course, and if they win it a second time, they don't have to play any more bomb sites.
It's all Logger.
As they just move on to the next map. And Clubhouse will be an interesting one, I suppose, because that is a good one for FaZe, not as great for Mocket. So FaZe don't seem to have really been phased by those early rounds.
I wouldn't put it past Mocket, though, to play excellently on that second map. Now, I have to say, Brian, why the no sights? All right, okay, I get it. The Vector looks great. It's a pretty weapon, but not like this. I don't know what the plan is. But
I mean, we'll have to see if he can pull it off. If he can, and, you know, it's his style and the way he wants to play it. I mean, we saw a lot of people questioning the iron sights originally with Bandit, and it's something that's caught on pretty well. But I mean that was a little more obvious of an advantage.
Yes. The Vector definitely has some comfortable sights to work with, but it's just, you know, it kind of blocks a lot on the bottom end of it. So you kind of lose a few degrees of lower vision. But, you know, my optometry aside.
Ooh, Corey again with the picks. He lost a lot of health on this. They could go for a reset, but it's probably not low enough to really justify it just yet.
Honestly, this kill is more enough. If I'm Corey here, I just stand upstairs and die the instant I can try to do as much damage as possible. Like, you still have support. You still have your teammates around you in the armory. So what you do now after eliminating the Dokkaebi is just double down on it and like, hey, you know what? You really want to deal with us? Come up here, because minimum, we're going to draw a lot of time off of you. And you see Rips also in here. There's 3 players on the top floor for Mocket in the peak. No, Cameraman and Yuna will grab 1 each. The Legion, huge loss here, and 1 more. Veil going down. That's all 3 roamers cleaned up, and now Mocket are in disarray. They've already set up a tower side mirror window, so they can look and also have KS as pre-positioned his evil eyes on the Maestro to get information as an opponent. Now, don't really have to worry about smokes in this situation, but gonna have to worry about just an all-out assault. There's still a ton of time.
Yeah, so much left for a 4v2. It's really going to be on Mocket to try and time their aggressive peaks correctly. Hopefully they still have some black eyes left to work with, as well as the evil eyes, because they're going to need all the intel they can get to be able to take advantage of this time as well, to get some of those just quick peeks out. I mean, huge advantage to FaZe Clan in terms of the ability left to be able to open up things, to be able to set up angles. They got the soft and a hard breacher. They've got the ability to clear out some utility with the Thatchers. They could even disable temporarily one of those evil eyes with Thatcher, and that could help them go for push, but it's not like they've got any smoke smoke to assist with that.
Yeah, and then that's the thing, but that's what you sacrifice by not having Capital in the squad. Well, Moringa would already go for the plant, and the C4, oh man, was it just shot down in the air? It didn't really hit anything over there.
That happens a lot more at land, but Baka unfortunately finished off. It's all down to KS, at least finds one.
He'll nab one, but there's still more around the corner. Yuna with the LMG, he counters him, and FaZe are a round away from taking this to overtime. This is what happens. You get FaZe one round, well, you know what? They're going to start to build things up. They've got a crowd behind them. A few thousand Brazilian fans here in the Olympic Stadium in Rio de Janeiro. Yeah, you're going to have a bad time. And this is why you cannot underestimate momentum and adrenaline. It is just violence, speed, and aggression.
Speaking of adrenaline, they're still consistently running those boosts as well. I gotta say though, unfortunately, Mawket's still, again, not making the adaptation I mentioned before, which is playing as more of a group. They're playing on the site, as you said, that should be the most turtle site of them all, where they can work together as a 5 or 4-man team, but instead they throw everyone upstairs.
Look at Mav, he is so fired up. And I'm sure the entire team is in. Cameraman is making sure they can still have the momentum to move
They were just losing some of those early rounds to give a chance for the crowd to get in, right?
And yes, it does take a while to get a few thousand people into the venue, and you can't see it in the back because there's no lights on them, but that entire row is completely full. You really have no idea how close to full this place is, and we are still at the first game early on in the day, so there's still a ton more waiting for us here.
Well, it still could go to overtime, of course, because as we talked about before, while it was match point, they brought it up to the match point for overtime potential here. If they could just take one more round as FaZe, then it comes down to up to 3 more rounds just for the first map.
Yep.
So we'll see, though. A lot of times when it hits that overtime, momentum can swing the other direction. But nonetheless, Laundry is where they'll go back again. And if they can just make the change-ups, I liked the idea of playing upstairs, but playing separate has not been working out at all for Mawket. So just put at least 4 people downstairs. If you want to let Quarry roam, okay, but put more people downstairs, unless you're going to put the 2 people upstairs in a much tighter position where at least they can trade each other. Because you saw Quarry get killed, and the other player just sitting out the other end of the hallway with his gun sticking out, not doing a whole lot to even try and trade that.
One thing's for sure, look at Corey, oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my.
He's trying.
Yeah, but here's the thing, one thing's for sure, both teams are excellent on the attack on Oregon, and it really shows. Maybe, I don't want to put it all in the smoke, not being available, but it definitely is something that you really have to put heavily into.
It just, I mean, allows you to play a little more aggressive towards the site itself, but I wouldn't say it has been a big factor either in terms of the way that the attack rounds have played out. Some more peak holes coming out through here. This is a nice little angle that, I mean, they're not going to be expecting anyone to be doing that if they go for that push, but that's a question of whether or not FaZe will. I mean, they do have Capital spawning over here, but they also have the diffuser all the way over on street.
Look at T3. I believe this is held by Vale, again on the Valkyrie. In the tower, yeah, there you go. He's still out there, so he's going to make as much noise as possible and drop whatever is needed. Takes a bit of damage here, but he is definitely still available, and this puts Mav's focus on the tower.
Yeah, it looked like he might have even potentially been going to rotate, but now absolutely going to have to focus on that. I mean, we'll see if Vale can make it work. If not, I mean, at least try and trade it. Like I said, have someone nearby to do something, but it looks like he's rotated off instead, so Mav is going to spend a lot of time on something that's not really going to bear much fruit.
He's trying to find a Valkyrie camera that's set out. This is the thing. This is actually the kind of weird thing is that we haven't seen IQ played at all.
Yeah.
Especially with the Valkyrie being available for play.
We've seen a lot of people looking around manually for those cameras.
Yes, and sometimes there's quite a few positions where it's very complicated to spot the Valkyrie cams if there's nobody on them. But you're not trying to walk in from the back, they'll get the info and instantly timing the CZ75 with the boost. And Astra will come in and get the first kill. You don't have to deal with any recoil once the Finka boost is out. And very, I don't want to say efficient, but like instant use of those calls from the Dokkaebi. It's just, there's no waste of time from FaZe Clan instantly trying to move in and clear out their opponents using the Dokkaebi.
Well, and this is what happened last round as well. Corey was the first to fall, and then everyone else seeming to fall from there. But the fact that they weren't able to find a second pick right away is definitely working out a little bit better because Vale had rotated off. So that is at least one good adjustment. They are playing a lot more downstairs now together. I could still see this working out for Mawket, but they are definitely down their star player.
There was a C4 timed out here to get thrown upstairs. Fortunately, it did not connect with anything, so Vale loses out on one of the 2 C4s that are available for the squad. Rips is still alive and well for now in the attic. Has an impact grenade if he wishes to rotate. Even drop against his opponents. Astro might be calling here for a drone and a surge from Yuna. So they can both set up for it. There's 2 available still for Yuna. So the instant they get the call, this should all be done and dusted. Moringa will go in, and he's being tagged by the Maestro. Astro will find one on Rips, and there's Claymore set right in front of him here. So it'll protect anybody who rushes into FaZe Clan. C4 has already been thrown up by Baka Brian, so there's no way to really deny this one. Of course, not having the smoke, and Astro yet again, he'll find 2, he'll find 3, and everybody falls. Astro demolishing Mocket every single time. The CZ75 timed. Wonderful unison with Yuna's adrenal surges, and there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's overtime. Our very first map in this series of this entire tournament. And nobody would have thought that Mocket and FaZe would be so close. The Astro, my God, the CZ75, the flicks, the plays, and the recoil control. Well, basically none of it.
Yeah. It's just showing that the boost combined with the right gun can be absolutely devastating. We used to joke about how that would affect Blitz, but I'm not sure Blitz is the problem anymore, the way he's running that CZ. It is absolutely destroying them. Now, of course, they get a coin flip to decide who's going to be on attack first, and looking like a big advantage for FaZe in terms of the overtime because they get the advantage side in theory, but we do oftentimes see things change up a little bit in the overtime because both teams have seen all the bomb sites, all the plays, all the strategies that they've been using for the most part. So it's down to who can adapt the best. So Corey gonna try something different here, bringing out a Pulse. Interesting choice coming out from him, but I mean, we'll see how he can play with it. He has been not doing so great at the beginning of the last few rounds.
Oh no! KS!
Not at the start.
Verdammt KS. Why do you do this? Impacts himself as he gets taken down to 35 or around 40.
He's tired of Corey being known as the impact player. That's got to be it.
Oh man, here we go. You know what, Devin? I miss casting him. Honestly, the dad jokes, they get me every time.
Yeah. Well, I hope Corey can live a little bit longer this round, especially to make up for KS doing a bit of damage to himself. They do at least have the mutes to try and slow them down a little bit in droning, but Mav bringing out a buck is also something different here coming up from FaZe.
Yeah, you say that. You know, Corey has to find a way to dance to the beat of his opponents.
His heart is in the game.
Yeah, that is for sure. Well, Rips just falls, well, goes back up, and it's going to set up his signal disruptors on the mute. Nothing really out of the ordinary in the positioning. This obviously will deny both of the walls. This should be easy to clear, as consistently here FaZe Clan have been running that Thatcher.
Well, as you see from the little fact, there are no team ever coming back to win after being down 1-5 on land.
Yep.
Just proves FaZe may have what it takes to go all the way if they can really push through this, take their next map, and just move on to the next fight after that.
We're not only breaking records in terms of the venue and the attendance, but yeah, we're also breaking records in game, which is exactly what we look for. Every single Pro League final seems to just outdo the other. And here, just at game 1, we have a potential comeback here. FaZe Clan feeding off of the crowd, and they take it to overtime. Remember, there's 2 minutes here for FaZe to make sure they get this first round of the attack. And looking back at things, the attacking side definitely has had the advantage. So the coin flip goes the way of FaZe. It can be a big boon for them.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously going to have to capitalize on the things that have been working for them so far, but Mocket should have had a chance to read into the way things are being played pretty frequently on these attacks, and we saw, you know, for example, the one defensive round that worked for FaZe on their defense was adapting to the attack as well, so if Mocket could do that, maybe they could turn that around, and if so, then all of a sudden they're in a good position because then they're on their attack. But Rip starting things off nicely, that CZ not going to impact this round at all. Fantastic start, and Corey still alive.
And Rips, of course, has taken no damage, which is exactly what you would like. And, you know, you're still in. KS might have taken a lot of damage, but that was early on in the prep phase. And so far, he's just going to stick to the site. Now, a lot of people look at the alibi, and they're like, hey, maybe she's more of a roamer. But honestly, throughout this whole season, especially in Europe, where she's seen quite a bit of play, we've kind of come to realize that Alibi is more about the utility than anything else, and he plays more like a Valkyrie, but in a different way of gathering information. And a lot of Alibis will just stay in and around the site, much like a Legion as well, which is not something that you would think of, at least we didn't think of when she was brought into the game a couple seasons ago.
Well, It looks like they've made a lot of progress on this attack, at least despite losing Astro, which was the more important of the roam clears. So they've instead just given up on roam clear, which could really work out for Corey and Rips because they're in a great position for a retake strategy. Once you get the callouts from Corey, he is going to be set up to potentially C4 if need be, if they try and go for the push, as well as call out for Rips to push up those stairs if he needs to. So a lot of intel working out for them, but a multi-pronged push here working out for FaZe.
Moringa will find a headshot on Baka, take him out. But Corey down from the side. Cameraman with one more. Rips will find one as Map1 another. And Cameraman one more. Yuna goes in for the last. It's a flurry of kills. You get a kill, and everybody gets a kill. As FaZe Clan absolutely walk into Mocket. And they literally just walk into the site and take it.
Yeah. I mean, they just pretty much gave it to him. It was unfortunate that just a lot of their peaks not working out. The timing absolutely not working out. Corey getting down right before the opportune moment as well. Rips, though, at least with this...
Oh, no! What is that flick? There's just... This time it's Rips doing a lot of damage, but Mocket are back on the attack. They have not been on the attack for quite a while, because remember, there are 5 rounds in a row that are won on the attacking side by FaZe Clan. So, to take it in here, this is now Mocket to get the advantage to possibly get that extra round, as so far, the defense has already won, has only won 1 round out of all 11 that we've been through.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, Laundry has been the only bomb site that seems to work, so of course that's where FaZe is going to go. Mocket have been able to tear it apart a little bit, but their one attack has pretty much been one-dimensional. They pretty much focus on pushing construction because it's so hard to push the other side. But in this case, Cameraman switching operators, if they can read into that, maybe it'll work out here for them to push from lobby.
I will correct myself. Those are 2 rounds. Another one on defense, 1 for each team. So there you go. Still, statistically in the favor of the attacking side.
Yeah, but of course, this is the one chance Mocket gets on this map because if they can't continue that pattern, which there's a good chance we could see FaZe shut them down as they had before, then it's, I mean, that's a bad place for Mocket to be because they lose their map, they go into one that is somewhat stronger for FaZe, and then if FaZe win that, which would be very likely, they go to a map that's even stronger for them. If Mocket were able to win this first, but it's not even looking like that's likely.
That would be
Bank.
It would be a huge comeback.
Yeah,
FaZe Clan, just off of getting that initial round, just plowing through things. Yeah, here against Mocket.
It's looking like FaZe just needed a little bit of warm-up time. Now, neither of these teams really got much of a chance to do much warm-up this morning, so it seemed like maybe that's really what those first 5 rounds were for FaZe.
Usually teams, what they do on game day is they have maybe like an hour of warm-up time, and that's about it, not much, because all your warm-up and preparation is done, obviously before you get here or the boot camp, but also the first 2 days as you get to the event. You usually have a dozen or so hours of Moringa. My God, taking out Corey. This is a great start here for FaZe Clan as they start to get their way in this potential final round of our first map.
They pretty much denied the one player that was able to save most of those rounds that were attacks onto Laundry on FaZe, so it's going to have to go very differently than before if Mocket want to be able to win this. Losing that early entry frag is also costing them a lot of time, along with the mute jammers as well, kind of slowing things down here in the push. There you go, see one drone getting jammed. This is starting to stall out pretty heavily for Mocket. They're going to have to find a pick or two here if they want to start getting some tempo advantage.
Now look at the alibi here that's set in your standard peak position, basically for the attackers behind the boxes. Cameraman's just going to play from below, but when you're attacking and you're focusing so much on the take of the site, then the alibi in there is just something you'll instantly shoot at as an attacker because you just are not sure of what's back there, or somebody just peeked through it or whatever. All of that factors in so much, and this is why alibi is, at least for their utility, a lot more of an anchor than what you think.
Yeah. So far, though, time is ticking down for Mocket. They have a lot of utility left to do what they need to do, but just not getting any kills here is going to leave them in a tough spot where they don't have Corey to rush into site and get kills.
Brian, he spotted the Meister as he ran away, but the Legion trap will make it happen. Yuna will find one. His sprays all the way in the back. His Mav will get one more. 2v5, ladies and gentlemen, a 1v5. All up to Rips on the Zofia. Even team damage being done here as they're not sure where to find him, and there you go, Astra will get it. FaZe Clan will reverse sweep Mocket to take map number 1. Huge game here between the two.
Would not have seen that coming.
It has, as you saw in the pop-up, never happened. The first time ever is here in Brazil, and the crowd is definitely something to factor in.
Well, I mean, that's not a great start at all for Mach1, but let's hope that if FaZe wins this out on the next map, they continue to have that same level of strength throughout this tournament and maybe try and break the curse that they seem to have had from previous LAN events, because they have the support of their countrymen here. So many people in the stands, so excited right now.
Mav is so excited. They want to go back to the semis as they did last year when they were playing in Sao Paulo for the Season 6 finals, and Season 8 might be their shot. FaZe have looked very strong throughout the entirety of the season, and right now Mach1 are kind of just like, you know what? We messed it up, but we'll see what we can do on map 2.
Now, Clubhouse is not a terrible map for Mach1 either.
It's a pretty good map for them. I mean, keep in mind, this is the team that tied G2 5-5 on this map.
Yeah.
That's not too shabby, to say the least.
No, it's definitely, I mean, they could make it work here. I don't think they're going to be in a position where it's like, oh, well, it's over, guys. However, if it makes it to bank, which is the only way Mach1 can even win now, that, I mean, really does not favor Mach1.